Way to the Vulcun Deckmasters playoffs day number 2. I'm joined by Brian Kibler, who is seemingly lost hero. So if you guys have found him, go ahead and message Kibler. He's a high reward. We'll offer. What are we offering?
Anything and everything. You know,
Okay,
if
literally
Shiro were lost,
everything.
I would. Yes, this would be a horrible thing.
That's
Thankfully,
good.
he just
That's good.
abandoned me because there's no more food in this room. He went to search for somewhere,
That's right.
somewhere he could eat something. So
Loyalty goes as far as the stomach is, as much as we know. But yeah, either way, while we're on the quest for that, we have a few players on the quest for the grand finals. We have Trump versus Surrender coming up here in semifinal number 2. The winner of this gets a spot in the grand finals happening on July 17th, and that'll be brought to you by Noxious and Kibler. Oh, sorry, Noxious and Crip, excuse me.
I was gonna say this news to me.
The K's confused me a little bit. We have Crip and Noxious casting on the 17th, so make sure to mark the calendars for the finals of the day. $50,000 prize pool here for the season, and we're going to see who is going to be guaranteed a big chunk of that right now between Trump and Surrender.
Yeah, I mean, these two guys, fought their way through the group stage and now several single elimination matches. Both of them pulling out some pretty exciting wins. We saw some real drama with both Trump's match just now against Toyota, as well as Surrender earlier when he took out Strife Crow, when the sort of back and forth top deck war of the Houndmaster into prep into Eviscerate to close out the game. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see this play out.
Yeah, pretty awesome to see if that ends up being another 5-game series going down to the wire. We've had some one-sided matches. We also had some pretty close matches. A lot has to do with the fact that Toyota just seems to never die and give up. And then Surrender just has like the most crazy nail-biting games at the very end where it just comes down to one draw every single time. And I like that Surrender also brought Rogue, because I know Rogue has been getting a lot of bad rap amongst the competitive scene. It's almost gotten to the levels of, kind of like Priest, like you bring Rogue if you don't like winning type, descriptions and adjectives. So I like to see a Rogue player succeed too. It brings some warmth to my heart.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely played really well in the games we've seen so far too. Both with his Rogue deck and as well with his Patron Warrior deck. Certainly spotting lines of play that got him some pretty big edges in the games that we've seen so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Trump probably just kind of resetting and re-racking his brain, but Surrender, I wonder how much fatigue plays into a factor too, considering that it has to be 5 or 6 a.m. or somewhere around that spot for Surrender, considering that he's been up for a while, and now either he's really tired because he's been staying up forever, or he's still kind of in the middle of falling back asleep because he's trying to wake up and try to maintain his maintain his focus as best as possible.
Yeah, I'm always really impressed by the players who compete in these events that are at incredible off hours for them. We've seen Tiddler, for instance, plays in many events in the West despite living in China, and consistently actually does quite well. So I wonder how many of these players really completely upend their entire schedule and just become nocturnal to play in Hearthstone events during their early morning hours.
Yeah, I mean that's the dedication of the Asian region in general. You see players like Roger or Tiddler, all those guys in China just really staying up at very odd hours to play with us in the West, and that's because how dedicated they are to really making it as a competitive player. You don't get these kinds of chances very often. The fact is, and the reality is too, the popular people will continue to get invited, not just the streamers, but also the high performers like Colento and Strifeco, etc. And you get the chance, you have to make the most of it. So you can bet that these guys are coming out swinging, and that's why they want it probably more than anybody right now. Because for some people, it is one tournament, and then next week there's another one. But for some of these guys, it's make it or break it.
I mean, look at Orange, who did very well in one of the Pinnacle events, but unfortunately got hit by a DDoS and thought maybe his chance was lost. Then went on to win DreamHack, and now is on Team Archon and gets invites to all of these major events. So one big finish can really totally change a player's experience in the Hearthstone world.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point indeed. And I guess that's a really good way to preview and get you guys excited for this match. In the meantime, we have a couple of seconds here before we go into it. We just want to remind you one more time to check out Squarespace. .com/deckmasters. That's a cool promotion going on, 10% off of your website, and that'll probably be the last time we can really mention it before we end the broadcast. So go ahead and check it out if you want to create your own cool website, whether it's Hearthstone related or personal.
So yeah, it looks like we're into the first game, and it looks like it is a Patron Warrior mirror match. I see armor up on both sides, so as the hero power. So Trump on the bottom of the screen. Both players bringing Garrosh. That no Magni's jumping here. Kind of disappointed,
Yep.
but I definitely Magni has my favorite emotes in the game. He actually sounds like really sincere when he's apologizing. He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, friend." Everyone else sounds kind of sarcastic or whatever else, but I believe in the dwarves. They are good people.
Yeah, they have big hearts, right? Small people, big hearts. That's kind of how it works. I agree completely. I think Magni is the best emotes just for the sincerity of it. Genuity of his emotes. When he thanks people, when he greets people, it feels very heart and warming. Not like Jaina. Jaina sounds so sarcastic. You're right.
Gul'dan is the worst. Well played. It's like you sound so sincere. I really believe that you mean
thank you. That kind of. I'm like, God, just want to race through my monitor and punch my opponent.
Yeah.
But Gul'dan's like really ridiculous in the lore, right? Like, isn't he like the most powerful character? And if you just isolate everybody's power levels.
He like fuses with Ner'zhul or whatever, I think, something like that. I don't really remember all the details of it.
Makes sense why his hero powers is the best too. It's awesome.
True. Yeah, he gets to like the character in the history of the world was basically a cheater, so he basically just gets to cheat by pressing a button. Anyway,
makes sense.
We're into this game. We see Surrender. Oh, it looks like Surrender's playing in some sort of internet cafe. By the way, I see someone else also playing Hearthstone behind him over his shoulder.
Well, I don't think it's a cafe. I think it's a team house of some kind, or maybe a practice house. Because
I guess that looks more.
Bongs are much more crowded and smoky and dirty. There's no way.
I guess that's true. I guess that's too organized and individual a setup to really be a LAN cafe type place.
Yeah, but people are starting to pile in and play Hearthstone behind him, and looks like he thinks maybe there's no death spite, but Trump chooses to armor up instead. And take his time, save his coins so he can use Deathbite into coin Thorson or keep his options open for the following turns if he needs it.
Yeah, I mean, right now the Berserker alone doesn't really represent a huge threat, and he can save his coin, use Deathbite to clear it next turn, and that just keeps his options open, like you're saying. The coin is actually quite valuable in this matchup. He doesn't have anything else really exciting to play on 4 after the Deathspite, other than another Deathspite, which is clearly not what you're really looking to do. So I think that he's definitely looking to play that Thurson on 5 if he has the opportunity.
Is there like a case where you just don't armor up?
Well, we saw in ESL actually, we saw the Rat playing in a lot of his games where he just did not armor up to enable Battle Rage. Which I thought was pretty interesting, and he is certainly a player who has played a lot of Grim Patron Warrior.
Oh yeah, even so to the point where he declares himself as the best patron player in the world.
That is what I have heard.
That is the meme. That is the meme.
Yeah. So
in this case, it doesn't really matter as much because Trump took damage past 30 anyways. But always worth evaluating if you have Battle Rage in hand, and you also want to start considering ways to draw cards if you want to benefit off of things like Emperor Thorson.
And yeah, so here, I mean, Trump no longer has the ability to just clear with Deathbite, which he was obviously what his plan was this turn. He could, if he wants to, just fire off that execute and still potentially just coin Deathbite and clear the Ghoul, which will allow him to possibly clear another minion the following turn and just sort of sweep up that Cruel Taskmaster in the Death Rattle.
That seems pretty effective, and you want to get ahead of the Unstable Ghoul in case an Acolyte comes out. You have no Mission Inventor, you have Battle Rage, so you can climb up on the resource advantage pretty significantly, and now you're forcing your opponent to have something too.
Yeah. Here, your opponent is expended some resources to protect that Berserker, and you're able to use your resources to keep that Berserker from being able to really do much that's very effective. We could see Surrender play Patron into Inner Rage here, which would make the Death Spite from Trump much less efficient because it's going to generate patrons if he does attack with it. I wouldn't be surprised to see that play. Because right now, yeah, you see Patron plus Inner Rage. Now Trump is in a little bit of an awkward spot because attacking with his Death Spite will give his opponent additional patrons. Oh, but Trump Slam, which is actually a great draw. Slam here allows him to clear the 5/2 and then attack with his Death Spites. And yeah, he can open it up with Frothing, which is even better because he ends up making a big Frothing here as well.
Yeah, it should be +5 +4 damage, I guess.
All right, well, there's 1, then 2, 3, yeah. It only hits, yeah, it hits itself, so it's +5. Yeah. Or no, +4, sorry.
Oh, right, because the minion dies.
Yeah, the Grim Patron died right away. So now...
Oh, boy.
You see a look of unhappiness on Surrender's face.
Right.
He's forced to use his Slam to just open this up here, and then plays out a Ghoul. That Ghoul could be bad. Yeah, I don't think he wants to play Ghoul. If he plays Ghoul and his opponent just plays Patron and attacks into it, he could be in a horrible spot.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like he wants to do anything. I mean, maybe he's doing nothing. Maybe he actually just wants to leave that Frothing up.
Right. That way you can take damage from Battle Rage and then have an opportunity to draw multiple cards.
Yeah, and here Trump just gets to attack and then play Emperor. And yeah, Surrender gets to possibly play play something into Whirlwind and then Battle Rage, or just Battle Rage for not really much effect. I mean, now he can't actually even remove the Thorison, is the thing. I mean, he could theoretically play War Song into Unstable Ghoul, but that doesn't really, he still doesn't have the 5 damage.
Yeah, there's really no way other than having Battle Rage, hopefully draw Execute off of maybe the Whirlwind Battle Rage play. That seems to be the best course of action here in order to stabilize from it. Because Emperor Thorson getting 2 sweeps of mana reduction,
yeah,
that's nuts. You're just going to fall way too far behind. You're also down the resource count, too.
Yeah, he's Battle Raging, getting 2 cards off of it. Does he find Execute? He does not.
No.
So this is a disaster for Surrender. Not only is he behind on board, but he's also behind an Emperor Thorson who's getting multiple uses. Ooh.
Wow. Well, War Song allows him to use the Grim Patron and set up a few things in the next few turns. He can choose to do it now. He can choose to draw cards so that way Emperor Thorson gets even more value. He can get a really nice Battle Rage for 3 cards and reduce all of those cards that he draws.
Yeah, I mean, if he really wanted to, Trump could, play War Song, but I don't really want to expose his War Song here.
Yeah, I like the Gnomish Inventor, Cruel Task, and Battle Rage, or even just like Gnomish Inventor, Battle Rage. It's fine. Like I think drawing to see what you get, and then even setting up Death Spite so that way you have a really powerful board the next turn is good.
I think just you can play. I mean, Gnomish Inventor. Well, Gnomish Inventor's not going to be damage itself, so you're not necessarily setting up a better Battle Rage. I do like Gnomish Inventor Death Spite, and probably just Battle Rage because you have the mana for it.
Right.
And you're gonna set up a better Emperor. You're going to get less cards than you might in a future turn off of the Battle Rage, but you're going to get them discounted because you have Thorson in play right now, so it's worth the sacrifice. So now Trump with a whole bunch of discounted cards, and it's still in a great position. Yeah, multi-discounts even. Gnomish into Acolyte. I'm actually a little surprised that we didn't, after that Inner Rage draw, that we didn't see a possible War Song into Gnomish to potentially set up the Inner Rage to kill Emperor. Maybe he just needs to save the Inner Rage to combo off, though.
Yeah, I think he was hoping for a Death Spite or Fiery War Axe or something. Like he had 4 mana remaining. It was perfect for him to draw into a way to kill Emperor Thorson.
I mean, here, if he Inner Rages, he can still draw Execute.
Yeah.
I think the game is very likely pretty much over if this. I mean, the Emperor isn't even necessarily the biggest threat right now. It's actually just the fact that Trump's hand is insane at the moment.
Yeah, it's too much damage. 5, 9, 11 plus, let's say 4 Grim Patrons maximum. It's 23. No, he wouldn't die unless he has a Frothing Berserker.
Ooh,
Oh,
despite one card too late.
oh.
And Unstable Ghoul, still no frothing on Trump's side, so...
I mean, is there a way though? I mean, one of those things that you can't discount is that you can buff up the patron with the Cruel Taskmaster, attack Cruel Master, and then kill it off with an Unstable Ghoul and multiply it. I'm not sure, because then you leave. Like, this is the stuff where if you played it a lot, you can get the experience to do so, and then you can almost like instantaneously count it within a few seconds. But I have to admit that this is like complicated for me.
Oh yeah, there's a lot going on here, and I mean a lot of it actually, the sort of multiplication of patrons doesn't necessarily always work how you want because of the limitations you have on just space in the board.
Right. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. Being able to kill it off and then multiplying it. And then the trick is to see if you can kill off one more patron after you attack, but I don't think you can because you're limited on space. Looks like he is just short by one damage.
We've actually seen this before. I mean, this is theoretically a board where Surrender could actually win the game if he has...
Oh, yes. Frothing Berserker?
Yeah, if he had Frothing, I think he would win. If he had Warsong into Frothing plus Unstable Ghoul, I think he actually just wins that game, which is crazy.
That's so funny.
Yeah, we saw this actually the other day in the Archon Team League with Life Coach against, I believe, Tiddler, where Tiddler actually slightly miscalculated and roped when he actually had lethal, and then Life Coach just killed him.
Yep. It was just too slow, actually. He missed damage because the patron didn't attack. It was like he calculated correctly, just didn't have time.
I mean, Life Coach has a close personal relationship with the rope, so he was able to, get it to work to his advantage in that particular case. But Trump here now picks up his win. Surrender does not have the comeback Berserker kill when Trump leads at 1, and now Trump leads the match 1-0.
Yeah, that's true. Now here, the patron's out of the way, which seemed to be a liability in previous series just because the patron was lining up really awkwardly and it felt targeted by some decks. People who brought Handlock was trying to see if they can pressure the patron warrior and then make sure that it got no wins in Conquest. Ironically, even though it's one of the strongest decks for Conquest, it feels like it can be targeted. In this scenario, Trump has the Warlock and the... Was it the Hybrid Hunter, if I recall correctly?
Yeah, he has Handlock and Hybrid Hunter remaining.
Okay.
So, and it looks like he is up against Surrender's Hunter deck, which, as we know, is pretty much straight face Hunter. So this is generally a matchup, as we've mentioned before, that tends to favor the player who has the more aggressive Hunter deck. So in this case, I think that Surrender is likely to have a little bit of an edge, but it's also true that I think that the player who goes first is generally also somewhat favored as well. So Trump with a reasonable opening, with Abusive into Creeper into, or maybe Mad Scientist with the Animal Companion to follow up. But Surrender has one of the key cards here, which is the Haunted Creeper. So that coin Creeper gives him a way to contest the 2-1 Abusive Sergeant for value, and then even has the Juggler to follow up.
Now, Trump will be the one trying to seize the board back. Should he play his own Mad Scientist to get the secret out of the way? Because I know a lot of times Mad Scientist gets less value as the game goes on, potentially by drawing the secrets. But Haunted Creeper is the more board resilient play too. So there's that trade-off too.
It looks like he goes with the Creeper of his own. I like Creeper with the Glaivezuka in hand. Creeper's a nice minion that you can potentially buff up with that punishes your opponent for killing it.
Oh yeah.
And then the shots go. All right, so that's okay. It's actually, I think, pretty perfect because he didn't actually want Trump to have the 2 minions to be able to easily contest the Knife Juggler. So here, I mean, Trump can't really efficiently use his mana. He'd love to be able to cast Animal Companion and then next turn play two cost spells, but I think Glaive Zuka here is probably his best option.
Yeah. It's his most consistent, and he takes the least amount of damage this way and board control. There's no way he can just straight up YOLO with Knife Juggler, because I think there's just too much variance involved in that.
Oh yeah. So here we see Surrender. Animal Companion seems pretty good this turn.
Yeah. If it's Misha, he can protect it very well.
Yeah, there's no outcomes that are bad. I mean, Leok is not super exciting, and we've seen so many Leoks today.
Well, I mean, Leok's the least good, if we can describe it that way.
In the correct situation, Leok is totally bonkers, but here, yeah, it is definitely not what you're looking for. And Surrender, I think, debating whether he wants to go face or clear off a guy. I think, given that he has an Arcane Golem in his hand, I like going face.
Yeah, makes
and now
sense. Trump
kind of has to decide how he wants to play this turn. He probably wants to get rid of Leok, and I kind of like playing Juggler into Mad Scientist to set yourself up. Oh no, okay. If you play Juggler into Mad Scientist, you can set yourself up to possibly have the best chance of hitting a guy and clearing. I guess that is actually particularly vulnerable to Explosive Trap, which Trump knows that Surrender does have, though. Not in his hand, but in his deck.
Yes. I also think Shredder is really hard to play in the following turns because you're going to be losing a lot of health and it won't have immediate impact versus Animal Companion, Knife Juggler, Mad Scientist, all potentially could have pretty big impact.
That's true. It's also like fitting a 4-mana spell into your curve later on is much harder than fitting 2 and 3-mana spells. So
yes.
Yeah, no, I definitely sort of changed my mind. I like the Shredder there.
Okay. Worgen Infiltrator and Wolf Rider is the most power onto the board. Allows him to charge immediately. Don't know how comfortable I am doing Arcane Golem until it's like the finishing points of damage, like setting up for lethal. And I'd be surprised if he chose to go for Worgen Infiltrator and then chose the hero power all of a sudden. Okay. Haunted Creeper is more resilient, but I still think Wolf Rider is like just the best because it forces Pilot Shredder into an awkward spot where it has to trade down, if at all. And the opponent needs to have specifically Unleash to House to punish this.
So you've got to be really, really afraid of Juggle Unleash if you do play another 1 health minion there.
But by doing this, he gives some chance for Trump to take the board if he gets a really good like Animal Companion roll, like a Misha, and it kills his Worgen Infiltrator.
That would be huge. Well, it's tougher.
Oh my gosh!
The best hit. So, and you see
Surrender's devastated.
Was not happy about how that went. I mean, that was the worst possible scenario for him. And yeah, it looks like he's going to set up his Explosive Trap. And this is actually one of the cards that is really powerful in the Hunter mirror matches because when you do get a board advantage, it can be difficult to take advantage of it if your opponent has Explosive Trap because many of the minions are small and as such end up dying to the explosive.
Yeah, but there are conveniently 3 minions placed here, which allow him to trade it off. Would he contemplate? I guess right now, I was wondering if... Yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, go finish your thought. Go ahead.
I was going to say, if he trades off, then he unfortunately can't actually play more minions this turn because he's not actually triggering the trap, and all of the minions he has die to trap.
Which coincidentally works out okay if his opponent, since his opponent doesn't have a weapon and he has a second trap, right? It'd actually be reasonable. But in this scenario, because his opponent has a second trap, it works out somewhat okay. And it even gets to set up for another explosive trap too. Setting up the next number.
This is a little awkward for Trump because now, the explosive trap plus attack into your guy, hero power you. Now Trump is in a position where I assume he's going to attack into the Mech Warper.
Yeah, I'd be really surprised if he didn't, considering that his opponent knows what type of hunter this is, and he's got 2 explosives.
Right.
if he sends a charger, he's saying that he wants to kill him next turn. And giving a charger allows him to get more value off of what's on the board. So if he plays Arcane Golem now, he can just push a minion into Arcane Golem. And then
you're not gaining much damage compared to just hero powering. Like if he had 5 mana, I could understand playing a charge minion and attacking. But I don't think he's setting up for 2-turn lethal here. He could attack him down to 14, and then next turn he doesn't have 14 damage.
He has. Well, he needs to do 12 because his opponent's going to attack into the explosive trap. So he needs to do 12 damage.
That's true. All right, so he's 15.
Sludge Belcher is so nasty in this position.
That is a big pickup for Trump. That not only is just a sizable minion, but also prevents that charge damage coming in from Arcane Golem pretty handily.
Yeah.
And I expect we're going to see this attack. And I mean, now Surrender did he did get a little bit extra damage, 1 more damage than just hero powering there, thanks to playing the Wolf Rider. But Trump is still now at 13 health, and Surrender looks to the sky as he's oh no, he really wants an owl right here.
Oh man,
here that is.
I mean, even if it was an owl, there's 2 layers of defense. There's another trap. There's a freezing trap and a taunt. It's like there's no charger getting to the face this turn.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, he's gonna Arcane Golem to at least break the trap. That's his plan here.
Yeah.
He wants to get the trap out of the way, so on a future turn he's able to deal with it.
Yeah. The game is also late enough where it's not as high impact to give a Mana Crystal as, he has 1 card remaining. The only way he could truly backfire is if it was some way for a quick shot to draw into another game-ending damage.
Ooh, and Trump is the one who picks up an owl, which is pretty awkward because he actually can't play it because it would silence his Sludge Belcher.
Yeah.
He would love to potentially play what he drew and maybe fire off a quick shot to dig a little deeper into his deck, but that is not a card he can play here. Mad Scientist, not really going to cut it. I don't think Surrender has any traps left in his deck either.
So, let's see. What's the best case in the next draw that he could win the game? Because he can hero power down to 9, and if he can kill command for 7 next turn, he needs to draw 2 more damage. But the problem is he can't do that in 2 cards. He doesn't have
a beast in play either, or in his hand.
Exactly. So he needs to draw a beast that could do 2 damage to the face. Or he kills this Sludge Belcher with both chargers. Which also is equally terrible.
Yeah, that's not a very appealing play. So now if he draws Owl.
Oh yeah, if he draws Owl. That allows him to Owl Charger plus kill command.
Yeah. I mean, Owl is basically the card that he's looking for the most here. I don't know what his sort of Owl situation is, but I don't recall actually seeing an Owl out of his deck. Now that I'm sort of thinking of the previous games we've seen him play.
Oh, heyo.
That's lethal.
That is game.
Yep. The classic Sludge Belcher Wolf Rider deck.
That's right, the unholy matrimony.
2 great takes that taste straight together right here.
Start of a great comedy series on NBC.
Yeah, exactly. The Odd Couple. Sludge Belcher. So yeah, well, Trump takes a quick 2-0 lead, and that was a matchup we thought where he might struggle. The Hybrid Hunter deck managing to pull it out, in large part thanks to the Sludge Belcher that really kept him alive against the charge damage that Surrender was threatening.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that Sludge Belcher was really big. The Freezing Trap was also really big, too. But just look at that complication. Surrender had damage to end the game, just not able to hit the face, The people kind of make jokes about that, and they put a bunch of phrases like
taunt.
Yeah, or like, taunt is cheat, that kind of stuff. But the point is, that's what happens when you disrupt a little bit and you still can be really aggressive at the same time. That was Hybrid Hunter at its best, and we've also seen it at its worst. In this scenario, Trump doesn't have to worry about it anymore. He's up 2-0, and he has 3 tries with the Zoo, which can definitely take games off of any deck based off its natural curve and the huge tempo plays with things like Void Callers and Void Terrors.
And I mean, Zoo, this is more of a sort of mid-range-ish style Zoo rather than an all-in aggressive style of Zoo that we used to see before cards like Void Caller or Imp Gang Boss, which makes it a lot more resilient to explosive trap in particular, which has traditionally been a card that can be a lot of can give a lot of trouble to the smaller Zoo decks.
Yes, absolutely. Of course, you have to draw those cards in order to be beneficial off of Void Caller. I just wonder if Trump wants to throw Void Caller away ever because it's so strong, and you know your opponent won't have things like Freezing Trap to deny the Void Caller, but you don't have the guarantee of having a good demon either. And I think you want to value your early curve. It's a hard, delicate balance with your mulligans, which are one of the most important phases to a game that's so fast paced.
Oh yeah, for sure. And here we have the very sad Flame Imp when your opponent has played a Leper Gnome, which is just probably the worst feeling. You're dealing 3 to yourself, and your opponent, can even just trade in and do another 2 to you if they really want to.
Oh yeah, it's really painful.
And there, Trump already at 25 on just turn 2. But Imp Gang Boss is a big pickup for Trump here. If he wants to go coin Imp Gang, that makes it pretty tough for most of what Surrender can possibly put out there to actually contest his ability to have pretty big threats on the board. It's also a card that's really powerful to follow up with Juggler, but it looks like Trump just goes with Juggler himself. This gives Surrender the ability to clear the board with his bow if he wants to, or even just with Glaive Zuka, and just keep pushing damage to face. I'm a little surprised to see Trump play the weaker minion there and keep his coin, just because it's so vulnerable to a number of different potential removal effects that Surrender is able to leverage to just keep his Knife Juggler in play. And we see the bow come down, or at least hover as if it's about to come down. Looks like Surrender is taking his time with this decision. And yep, bow takes out the Juggler, and Surrender just keeps pushing for face damage. So, Implosion. That is also a potentially big draw from Trump, and I think we're just going to see coin Implosion here. It's just such a strong play. Anything but a Unleash the Hounds. And we have Trump is an esports champion, 4-point Implosion. And that's pretty strong, particularly with the Defender of Argus in his hand, because Defender of Argus can represent not only the ability for Trump to defend himself, but also just a lot of ability to push for damage here. Speaking of pushing for damage, here is Huffer. Always Huffer.
Is it ever never not Huffer? I mean, excusing all the Leox we saw today, is it ever not Huffer?
I think it's been not Huffer once in history, at least. All right, we see
so the saying goes.
Yeah. Voidwalker come down with Imp Gang Boss, and this is threatening a really strong turn from Trump next turn, because Defender of Argus on Imp Gang Boss can just be an absolute nightmare. Not only is it a 5 health taunt that you need to push through, but every time you actually damage it, the Warlock is getting an additional minion.
Right, to trade into your Wolf Riders or whatever minions come out.
And now here, I mean, this is actually also a really awkward spot for Surrender, because Wolf Rider can't really attack it effectively into the Voidwalker. It just trades 3-drop for 1-drop. Looks like it might be what he's doing, though.
Yeah, I think he feels like he's confident with the amount of burn he has.
Yeah.
He's got 2 kill commands, and if you can maximize their value, that's 10 damage, and the Glaive Zuka should carry you all the way home. That's optimistic, to say the least, but the point is you're putting your opponent on a pretty aggressive clock here to end the game.
Yep. So it looks like I think he's debating Glaive Zuka or Hero Power here. He is.
No, we know that the Glaive Zuka is a better play because the Defender of Argus coming in here.
All right. So, and this Defender of Argus is going to be pretty huge here.
Doomguard helps him race in the next couple of turns, which is really
big.
big.
Also a big gap as well. So looks like Trump is up to Mad Scientist. Not really what he's looking for, and that hero power or that weapon is not really able to push through any damage here. He can take out one of the taunts, but not the big one. And this is another situation where Surrender is facing a 3/5 taunt and would love to draw Ironbeak Owl.
Or some way to disarm it so it's easy to deal with.
This seems to be a theme of this match so far. Is 3/5 taunt versus no Ironbeak Owl from the Face Hunter.
All right. Now, would you silence this to prevent the explosive trap, which you know inevitably will come out, or would you just go Doomguard here and just pressure as much as you can?
If we look at the board state, what Trump has 5, 6. He can attack for 11 this turn. Put Surrender to 5. I mean that means Doomguard alone is lethal next turn, and
he put him to 6 this turn, which means Doomguard would be 1 off.
10, 11. No, it's 6. You're right.
Right.
Sorry, I miscounted a little bit, but I still like that math of.
I like it too.
I mean, this is a position where. Well, there's an explosive trap, which is probably the worst draw when you already have a Mad Scientist which gets explosive trap.
Gosh. Okay, so now he's like wondering if there's a way for him to survive.
I mean, he has in order to survive, he has to kill command both the Imp Gang boss and the Defender Vargas, because either one of them hitting him kills him, along with the Doomguard. He can also just double kill command the Doomguard,
right?
Which means that he will get attacked for 5, and his opponent gets another Imp, which is that's probably better because then his explosive trap is actually still live in his hand.
Yeah,
I like I like double kill command the Doomguard. I mean, it is the better miserable play. He has the opportunity to make this turn.
Yeah, it will also the really bad icing on the cake is he can't hero power. Because this explosive trap would have put him down to 7, and then he would be able to get another combination and put his opponent that much quicker off the kill.
And this is the saddest of double command turn.
Any buff? Does Trump dare tap?
There's no way you life tap here.
You just play your minions.
Yeah, you just attack, play minion. Yeah, your opponent goes down to 1 already. Do you even play minions? Actually, is it even better to play these than to just say go?
Well, we know that Void Caller is. He already used kill commands though, so unleash plus knife juggler is the most. No, unleash plus like arcane golem. No, unleash plus Leroy is the highest amount of damage you can do.
Yes.
And he would kill you if that's the case.
But is it different whether you play your minions or not? The unleash is.
No, it wouldn't matter because you have
3 Leroy's. No. The unleash is for 3 and Leroy's. No. Yeah, you're dead either way because he would unleash for 5 after the Leroy, so or whatever. So it doesn't matter against unleash Leroy, but does it matter against like unleash quick shot?
3, 6. No, you'd be 1 damage off. No. Yeah, so, that's like just this comedy of errors and draws, like just unfortunate.
I think just from Trump's perspective, I do think the Voidwalker is the correct play, or the Void Caller is the correct play, because he does need to have something that can attack and live if his opponent plays explosive. So he needs to play at least a 3 health minion in order to be there, and he finds the play, which would have, if he hadn't played anything, would have gotten punished by the second explosive trap, and Trump advances 3 games to 0.
Yeah, and that's yet another finals appearance for Trump, who's just been tearing it up lately. All of his tournament results in the past couple months have been very good, and I think he's always been on the verge of... It kind of became a joke where Trump was like top 4 all the time, but never really a tournament threat. And he recently picked up a nice online win, and he's in the finals yet again. And this is a big tournament, 50K. I mean, Trump might realistically start shooting up all the rankings that people have to be one of the best players in North America, if not already.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's definitely had a really strong string of finishes. I've had a great time working with him for the Archon Team League. We're both on Team Value Town along with Dog, and he's certainly a very solid player who has, been on the cusp of having great tournament success, and now is finally finding it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is going to be it for today. We have two more matches remaining in Vulcun Deckmasters Season 1. It is the third and fourth place match. And that's also going to be joined by the grand finals happening on July 17th with Noxious and Crip here on the channel Vulcun HS. We're done for today. Gibbler, do you have any final words, thoughts, sign-offs, maybe about the league itself or about your time here today?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I had a great time both casting the Deckmasters League as well as playing in it. Unfortunately, I didn't quite make it this far, so I'm talking about the games rather than playing them. But definitely enjoyed both those experiences, and thanks to Vulcun for having me, as well as Squarespace for sponsoring the event.
Absolutely. Squarespace.com/Deckmasters. Get 10% off of your website creation. It's pretty easy to make a website. Again, you don't really need a lot of experience or technical know-how in order to create something cool for yourself. And they're a sponsor of the event. You can go ahead and show your thanks. Do that either through the link or on the Twitch profile below. That's it for today. Thank you so much for everybody who tuned in and watched. We'll see you guys for the grand finals. Again, July 17th. We'll see you guys then. Have a good night.